Well, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. We're having a fantastic week. Today, we are reading some ghost stories. Not any ghost stories, Victorian ghost stories, while wrapping Christmas presents. So originally, this was not my plan for today's video. My plan was to give you guys my Christmas decor video where I decorate my home with you guys, but your girl took so much footage that it's gonna take me days to get through it. So, in exchange, you'll be getting this video earlier and then that video later, so sorry. Hopefully this video is still fun for you guys because I'm gonna enjoy reading some ghost stories out of this book right here. This is the Valancourt Book of Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories, Volume 3, edited by Simon Stern. I am very excited to read this with you guys, but first, I feel like this outfit is not setting the mood for Victorian ghostly vibes, so let's change that right now. Without a good transition, be honest, be brutally honest with me.
This could have been better, could have been worse.
So this robe, glorious, isn't it? It totally gives off more of a Victorian, I don't know what happened to my husband vibe. It's from Foxblood if you want to snag yourself one. I think it's still available. It's red velvety luxuriousness. That's not a word, but you know, I thought it would be fitting for today. Honestly though, it does give me a bit of, what's her name? Martha May Huvier vibes.
I'm afraid I do have something for you.
It doesn't look like her robe, but because she wears a robe in one scene, that's all I can ever think about whenever I see luxurious robes. Martha May Huvier. Round of applause for Martha May Huvier. Let's get back to the book, shall we? So, why are there Victorian ghost stories with Christmas and ghost stories? Those don't mix nowadays, do they? But back in this time era, yes they did. Instead of telling ghost stories during Halloween time, they told ghost stories during Christmas. And so today we are carrying on that tradition by reading some ghost stories. I don't know what's happened to my voice, but we're gonna keep rolling with this. Kidding, I'm not gonna talk in a southern accent.
I lied.
So you will see footage of me wrapping presents in hopefully a nice way. Hopefully me reading ghost stories to you will help, you know, get you in the mood to wrap some Christmas presents together, and we'll have a lovely time. Yes. So, I don't know how long these stories are, so we may read one, we may read a couple, I don't really know. I think I'm just gonna read enough to where I think how long it'll take me to wrap presents will be in a fast forward motion. I'm not gonna do it regular time. You know how slow I am at wrapping presents?
Sometimes it takes her hours.
Alright, let's look at the table of contents. Do you have one? Let's find out. Ooh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna read out the titles here, and then you can just let me know if I didn't read the one and you want me to read it at some other point. Let me know. We have The Ghost of the Crossroads, 1893. 19 Great Hanover Street, 1889. Sir Hugo's Prayer, 1897. Walnut Tree House, 1878. Haunted Ash Church, 1893. The Haunted Tree, 1871. A Dead Man's Face. Alright, we're reading A Dead Man's Face. I don't care what you guys had to say about that one. It was published 1884. The Ghost's Double, 1898. Maybe I'm a twin, so that one's kind of calling to me. The Haunted Manor. It's like the Haunted Mansion. Oh my god. 1885. The Nameless Village. Well, that just sounds like a Stephen King book, doesn't it?
Here's Johnny.
1896. Old Simon's Ghost. Who is Simon? I'm curious. Miriam's Ghost. Who was Miriam? Who is Miriam? 1897. The Vicar's Ghost. I don't know if I said that right. 1890. The Ghost of the Hollow Field. 1867. The Wicked Editor's Christmas Dream. What kind of drama is there? 1893. The Barber's Ghost. 1869. A Spirit's Bride. Another very haunted mansion-y sounding one. This is 1896. The Haunted Oven. Okay, we gotta read The Haunted Oven. Are you not curious about The Haunted Oven? I am. 1877, The Devil's Own, 1895, and A Christmas Ghost Story, 1895. which one called to you. I'm thinking the haunted oven as well as a dead man's face. We'll see how long they are, but we're going to start off with the haunted oven because I quite frankly am curious how an oven can be haunted, especially back in this time era. Someone tell me how this is. Ooh, this is pretty long. Ooh, girl. We'll see how long the haunted oven is, and then we'll go from there. And if we have time to read another one, I will read the face one. The haunted oven. Thady Brophy and his wife Bridget were well-to-do farming people and worked hard and had good luck. By the way, I have not read these, so if I mess up reading, it's bringing me back to 3rd grade.
Popcorn reading.
It was dark times, Harry, dark times.
I may not know how to pronounce some things in here because it's Old English or Victorian English, and they didn't really know how to... Not everyone had proper grammar back then. Starting over, because I got distracted where I was. Thady Brophy and his wife Bridget were well-to-do farming people and worked hard and had good luck. Good for them. I wish I had good luck. And Thady's pigs never died, and his fowls never roosted, their breastbones cooked, and his horses never broke their knees, and the wireworm never got into his turnips, and all his calves were heifer calves. Good for him. He sounds like good farming people right here. Good job. Way to take care of your animals. Everybody said they had the luck of the fairies, and never a thing in the wide world to trouble them, and so they had till they'd filled a long stocking with souvenirs and made their fortune, and then nothing would content them, but they must take a bigger farm and move into a new house. The new house was a fine old ancient building 50 or 60 miles from Kolkoskin, where they'd made their money. And what do ye think put into their heads to go there and set up gentlerly? Why, the name of the place was Glambruffy, and Thady made sure that some of his forefathers must have lived there. And Betty thought it would sot mighty purty av he have to buy it, and hear people talking of him as Mr. Brophy of Glambruffy. Wow, that's a very proper name, isn't it? And then she went on thinking, as we're all apt to do, of how it might go on from generation to generation, and that maybe in course over time her great-great-grandson might be a magistrate and serve on the grand jury. Wouldn't that be a lovely thing? And maybe get to the high sheriff and have a hand in fine hanging. Ooh, no hangings, please. So Betty set her heart on Thady buying Glambruffy, and she sent him over to look at the place. So he rode over, quiet and easy, and never let on to anyone he was thinking to buy it. Well, they're sneaky, aren't they? Doesn't want anyone know they're going to buy this nice house. And he asked the neighbors all sorts of questions and came home to Biddy.
Biddy, he says, we can get Glambruffy for half the valley.
He says,
but I don't think I'll take it all the same.
Why not then?
She says,
Didn't I send ye over there to take it out of a face?
Aye, but Biddy, the reason they have for letting it go cheap is because there's a ghost there.
a ghost there?
And sure I thought it might be making you nervous, you darling.
But Thady's kind tongue was spanking. I'm gonna use that. As most of us do now and then that's got the luck to have a wife. Rude. One word for her and two for himself, for though he was 6 foot high and his stocking feet, the thought of a spirited give him an ague as easy as kiss your hand. I'm guessing that means even though he's tall, he is still scared of ghosts.
Sure if funny you are now, the sort of ghosts in 7 counties out of frighten me, and it kindly obliged to them I feel for cheapening Glansbury for us, so as to let us into our old ancient family estate. So just settle the business as soon as ye can, and see, we can't move in 3 weeks before Christmas, she says. Wow, okay. Recap. She wants to still buy the house, even though it's haunted, and she wants to move in 3 weeks before Christmas. Will her husband do it? We'll find out. She says, whether they be leprechauns or fairies or fetches or birabugas.
Nothing came up. If you know what a brigaboo is, let me know. Whose side are you on right now? Are you on Bridget's side or Thady's side? Thady being the husband, Bridget being the wife. Whose side are you on? Would you buy this house knowing that your neighbor said it was haunted? Or would you say, no? Are you a Shaniac or a Bagara? Guess that would be the answer for that question.
Whether they be leprechauns or fairies or fetches or brigaboos, be off, Thady. hut to the lawyer and come back to me as Mr. Brophy of Lansbury, or by the pipers, I'll hunt you myself.
I like her, alright? I like her. That was a very good comeback. Well, Thady knew when Betty spoke that away that she meant what she said, and so, for to save time and trouble, he rode off like a sensible chap, and brought Glansbury out and out, trough, and if every married man in this very room would do like Thady, same as you, I'll be bound, or have an easier life than ye have. You better listen to your wife, kids. That's what they're saying here. Well, the place was theirs, and they had the mischief's own lot of fuss moving. Yeah, moving sucks, doesn't it? No matter what area you're from, we all can agree, moving and no bueno. Biddy hadn't thought of that, and some of the things were badly packed, and the breakages went to her very heart. Oh man, that'd make me sad too if any of my stuff broke while moving. Girl, I'm sorry. There was 3 cups out of 7 of her grandmother's tacit to all smithereens, and she cut the tops of 2 of her fingers getting the pieces out of the hay, and in short she had all sorts of worry. But she was a jolly kind of woman when she had her own way, and every day she found something new about Glanfurfy that pleased her, and the best part of a fortnight passed away, and they never heard the sound or seen the sign of a ghost, and they were proud as punch over their bargain. Good for them, no ghosts so far? We know, by the title of the story, that ghost is coming. Oh yeah. It is laying low, waiting for the proper time to make its mark. Had they seen a haunted movie? They hadn't, because it was before movies were made. But we all know, the first couple of weeks, nothing. Calm as a cucumber, that house, all the haunting rumors, God, they don't exist. But you know that little things are happening, and then that's when the spooky ghosts come in. Well, one morning, when Biddy to Thady,
There was but the one thing wantin', Thady, to make me a happy woman. All these years at Kilkscalkin we had to eat baker's bread, because there wasn't an oven, and the dickens a chance of barm to rise the dough. And sure, I was always having the heartburn from all the illumin stuff they be put in the bread. But now, she says, there's a lovely old oven here, and there's a big brewery half a mile off just beyond our estate, and I can have bomb every day if I want.
I keep changing her accent, but you know who this is. It's the wife, Biddy.
And I'll sit in a beautiful bacon of bread, and now that we've got our ancestors' estate, and we're the Brophies of Glanbrophy, with an elegant outside care, and a beautiful oven of me own, and home-baked bread, I feel somehow as if I'd be quite content for to die. So I would, Thady.
Well, Betty,
Says Thady.
I don't like much differ with you, but I'm not sure, but I'd feel more content to stay alive for a while.
He's making fun of her cooking. And so they went, the 2 of them, into the bakehouse. Is she about to cook? Biddy called the girl to open the oven and draw the bread, for she'd got up quite early in the morning to surprise Thady with her beautiful baking. And there was 6 lovely loaves looking like 3 dear little pairs of sweet little twin babies. Dear me, oh, she says, for she quite touched with her success.
What a pity to think the lovely crust will get soft and tough before Thursday, and they're as light as a feather. And it's a wonderful oven.
How lovely. They had her fresh bread for breakfast. Sounds like a good time. Well, Thady takes up a loaf to cut a nice piece of undercrust off for Biddy when she says, "Stop! May I never put this writing on the bread!" Writing on the bread? Hold on.
Writing on the bread,
cries Thady with a loud guffaw of a laugh. When he turned the loaf up to look, and sure enough, there was some big letters on it. Well, they looked and looked, but they couldn't make them out.
Maybe it's French?
Says Biddy.
No,
Says Thady.
it must be Latin, for they're a big B, and it's just turned right the wrong way, and there's an R to the left of it. What does it mean, after all?
And he looked up at Betty, and as startled as she was, her face was as white as the brick house wall, and the teeth were chattering in her mouth.
Sure, if it's writing the wrong way, it must be a spell, and there's something unlucky about that. Whoo, thrice, but why did I pass my little bit of ovenness about the ghost. There's trouble coming to us out of the oven. Was that good? I don't know. Well, Thady didn't feel comfortable, but 'twas daylight, and so he tried to carry it out like a man.
Don't be a big fool, Betty. Sure, the letters has no meaning. It might be some sort of rash in the waste that breaks up the crust of the bread.
And then he tried a poor bite of a joke.
The flour was made of red wheat, and how could it be red without letters?
I don't get it. Betty snapped the loaf out of his hand in a pet.
There is a ghost in it, says she. I'll spell it out backwards and see what he's got to say. Trouble in decent people.
And she went,
B-R-I... Bridget, she screams. Oh, Thady, I'm done for. It's a message for me from the ghost.
Well, they were like to faint, and so they were, and they took the other 5 loaves, and sure enough, there's writing on them too, and they turned them all undercrust uppermost to read the unlucky backward writing on them, and see was the worst of the spell the spirits was going to put on them. Do you think there was really writing underneath these loaves, or do you think it could have been an impression in the oven? I don't know. We'll keep reading. Well, they made it out somehow. The first loaf, as I thought it said, was Bridget, and that frightened the missus enough. But would he believe the next loaf, when they spelt it out, was Brofy of Glan, and the third loaf, Brofy died. What? Is this like a prediction oven? When they got this far, they looked at one another, and Thady burst out in a fit of crying. But 'twas all no use. They couldn't help spelling the other loaves, and the long and the short of it was Bridget Brofy of Glan Brophy died Christmas Day, 1866, aged 44 years. That's weird, right? Yeah. And it were the very year they were in, and it was 10 days before Christmas. So we're about 2/3 of the way through the story, and we're already at like 20 minutes, so we're probably just going to be reading The Haunted Oven. I hope you're liking it so far. I'm enjoying it. Let's continue forward and see what happens to poor Biddy. She can't die on us. She is a hero of the story. We need her.
Oh, Thady, cried Biddy. I misspoke. It's all over with me. 10 days to live and to die on Christmas Day. And 'twas all your constant wanting to be Mr. Brofy of Glanbrophy that brought me to this pass. I wish I was back, but that's what's man vanity does. Why couldn't you have leave me in peace where there were no ghosts and warning to make my last days miserable?
And she threw her apron over her head and rocked up and down as if her sorrow was a hungry baby she was trying to hush to sleep.
Hard Biddy,
says Thady, presently quite hearty-like.
It's a trick someone put upon you.
How do you make that out, you cold-hearted spleen?
She says, getting out of the apron mighty quick all the same, for she was in hopes he would have found a chance for her.
Why?
Says he.
Do you believe the spirits know when you'll die?
Of course, she says. They know everything about everybody and they can't be wrong.
Yes, there's a chance. Don't take on like that, woman alive. Sure, the message says you were 44 years old next Christmas, and you're only 39, so can't be yourself, they mean.
Yeah, he's right. I was wondering that. I was wondering how old she was. She's only 39. With that, Betty began to screech like a stuck pig.
Oh, they do. It's all true. They found me out. It's mean and no mistake. When I saw you first throwing sheep's eyes at me, when I lived at Farmer O'Donovan's, I let him know I was only...
Oh, she lied about her age.
When I lived at Farmer O'Donovan's, I let him know I was only 18, and I was 23. And I've done you out of 5 years of my life, me poor fellow, and only 10 days left for myself.
And with that, down she went flop, a spoon on the floor. Turn of events, I did not expect that coming. Thady got to her bed, and there she stopped, for she felt mighty weak and poorly, as you might suppose. They had meant to have a housewarming and a dance at Christmas, and word had gone round to all the neighbors. Well, you know, if it's going to be her day to die, at least you'll have a good time, you know? But somehow the story got out about one way or another, and there was to be a funeral instead. Oh, come on. Who wants that on the last day they're supposed to be alive? No, party. Do the party. Come on. Thady sent for the doctor. He felt her pulse and sent a half-gallon draught and a basely powder and a pill as big as a cannonball because they were rich, but they didn't do her a point of good. Reason why she never took a bit of them. She knows she would die on Christmas Day. I don't know what the doctor prescribed her. Couldn't really tell by what all that jumbly is, besides a giant pill, but she didn't take it, so continuing on. Thady sent for the priest, and he talked and he read, and he said he'd exorcise the spirits, but he didn't do a pin of good. Exorcise the demons.
I have exorcised the demons.
Thady sent for the policeman to watch over there as any ghosts about the place, but he didn't do a pin of good either. For when Thady stumbled on the step at 12:30 in the night, the policeman, who was in the kitchen, cut and run like a lamplighter and was seen 3 miles off at 7 o'clock and said he chased the ghost that far. He chased a ghost? The policeman did?
Have a donut, copper!
So, people believe in ghosts all the more, though they did not turn the story the other way and say he chased the policeman 3 miles in 75 minutes. So the long and the short of it was, Mrs. Brophy got weaker and weaker and worse till Christmas Eve. All that stress, girl, it's not good for you. Well, Thady was just sitting over the fire in the dusk, and he was morally low and unhappy, thinking what ought he to do the day after tomorrow and every day after, when poor Betty would be under the sod, when she came a knock to the door. Thady went, opened it, and seen a pleasant-looking middle-aged man in the doorway. "Good evening, ye honor," says the man.
Same to you, and save you kindly, honest man,
says Thady.
But what may you want, for the house is in trouble right now?
"Oh, Mr. Brophy," says the other, "I'm Larry Riley, the fiddler and stonemason, and I thought to have fiddle for ye dance tomorrow, but I heard the story of how bad her ladyship was, and I just come up to see if I couldn't cure."
Is it cure her?
Says Thady.
I'll give you a £10 note if you do, but I have had the doctor and the priest and the policeman, and it's done no good, and she's going off tomorrow morning.
"Never mind, ye honor," says Larry. "I like to have a thrive for the £10 note."
And how you do it?
"Oh, the best thing in the world for a case like that," says Larry, looking as wise as he was 7 doctors at once. "It is to show the patient her tombstone and let her see it's all earnest about her having to die." That seems like a backwards way to do things, but sure, Larry, you do it. Figure it out.
Ah,
says Thady.
"You're a stonemason, and so you think her tombstone would cure her. I suppose you know 'twas a shoemaker who said there was nothing like leather, and how would you manage to show her tombstone with the poor creature has to be off tomorrow morning?"
"Well, let me try," says Larry Riley, as bold as brass. "Let us spell about it, and give me 2 hours by myself in the bakehouse to fight the ghost. I'll undertake to show Mrs. Brophy the appearance of a tombstone by 9 o'clock, and maybe she'll be well by morning."
"It'll be the death of you, honest man,"
says Thady.
"You'll never beat the ghosts."
"I'll have a try for the £10 note," says Larry. "Give me a pound of candles and a pint of whiskey and lock me up till I conquer 'em," he says. And so Thady, as a last chance, did as he was told. Well, Larry went in, and Thady listened at the door. Presently he heard the spirits, and Larry fighting hammer and tongue, like 1 o'clock, smashing, dashing, driving, noise enough to finish poor Mrs. Brophy, and she sent down to know what it was. I'm guessing he made so much of a ruckus that it woke her up. Up he went and said it was a spirit doctor trying to save her life and fighting the spirits like mad. Well, this cheered them both up a bit, and much sooner nor they thought all was quiet, and presently Larry called to be let out. And there he was, all in a lather, as you might think. "I vanquish the spirits," he said, and sure enough, the whiskey bottle was upside down in his hand. Alright. "And I made them give me Mrs. Brophy's tombstone to cure your wife with. Here it is. We'll bring it upstairs." And sure enough, there was a fine tombstone 6 foot by 18 inches with old writing on it.
"Well, that beats all,"
says Sadie, for he was dumbfounded to think of Larry mastering the spirits, and they struggled upstairs with the tombstone to Mrs. Brophy's door. Yeah, I bet that's heavy. Biddy was in a blazing rage at first to think Thady would get her a tombstone cut before she died. Yeah, that's kind of like a weird thing to do. But then she felt flattered to think she'd have such a handsome one, and so she read it to see if it was right about her age, for nobody likes to be dated wrong. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Bridget Brophy of Glanfrophy, who died Christmas Day, 1666. "Oh, ye heathen," she cried, "you put me 200 years wrong!" And as she was waked, she began to cry again. "Oh, Mrs. Brophy," says Larry with a good-humored laugh on his face, "I'm the best doctor in the place for your complaint. I'm to have 10 pounds for curing you, and I'm a fiddle at your housewarming tomorrow night. This isn't your tombstone at all. It's the stone that was over one of those old Brophies 200 years ago, when the back garden was a churchyard, and when the old oven wanted a new floor afore you come in here. I was set to do it, and I put in this old tombstone, and you sat your bread on it, and got the leathers off it, and you thought the 6 was an 8, and the figures was worn down, and you misread 1866 instead of 1666, and now that you know the secret, I'll warrant you'll get well." Well, I need hardly tell you, she did get well. And Thady paid Larry Riley 10 pounds on the spot, and they had a blazing dance on Christmas night. And Larry fiddled, and Thady and Biddy danced as if they were a couple of kittens, and all the countryside took to calling Larry Dr. Riley for the wonderful cure he made. And whenever anyone talks of ghosts, Thady and Biddy swear and scold as if they believed in nothing of the kind, and if they never had been scared by the haunted oven of Glanbrophy. I hope you guys enjoyed wrapping presents with me as I read out of this book, The Haunted Oven. If you want me to read any more stories out of here, let me know. Hopefully I'll have a bit of a better time now that I know that this was not edited to have correct spelling, and that I will have to more than likely pre-read some of these to get it to be less of a jumbly mess as I'm reading them. But let me know if I was okay and I want it to be a surprise for both of us. That can be the case, or if you want me to pre-read them so that way I have a better storytelling voice, let me know as well. Or if you're just like, girl, you bad, or you can just tell me straight up, girl, you're bad at reading stories, stop doing it. I'll be like, all right, got it. I never liked popcorn reading anyways. Well, I hope you guys don't find secret messages on the underside of your bread if you're baking some delicious bread for Christmas. No death predictions, please. No. No Ouija board ovens in my house, thank you. With that, I'm gonna go edit this video. Hope you guys are having an awesome yet spooky week, and I will see you very soon with my decorating for Christmas video. Bye!